I catch it. I have to really reload it. Not reload, refill. That's gonna work. About through the leg. Hi! Hello! I was so tempted to go live again last night. I'm good. I had way too much fun last night. Way too much fun. Watching a hockey game. It was we went to my family and I went to a hockey game. Two to one. 2-1. Two to one. Let's go. It was the best. I normally cannot handle loud noises, so I had to wear some like earplug or the little ear things that go blocked out noise. And I thought the game would go a lot longer. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Yay, first like, let's go! Let's go! And Star Wars is playing in the back! Let's go! Yeah, I should have made a video or so of the sketch I was doing when I was at the hockey game, but I didn't. But yeah, when I was at the hockey game, I have this thing where if I'm at a game in general, I will end up drawing a character. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I ended up drawing a My Little Pony version of Ricochet. And that is the Rough Riders mascot. He came by where me and my fam were sitting. At one point, Dad got a fist bump. Let's go. Why do I have to have this climatic music playing while I'm doing this? So I'm going to be very surprised if there's a certain hello, yes, you're all alive. The beans are alive. D&D for 7. Anakin, they think we're Dungeons and Dragons. What do you mean they think we're Dungeons and Dragons? Does lightsabers belong in Dungeons and Dragons? I do not know, Anakin. That is their choice. No, there's vampiric swords in Dungeons and Dragons. Vampiric. So, I probably can't. I cannot draw a buff man to save my life. So, after I'm finished outlining this, I am going to try drawing a miku. Someone did ask me to draw miku. So, I'm going to try doing that. They come miku, miku, moo, do 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 do. I also did just come start after watching a stream. So shout outs to Site 42. Every Friday he has a fan art Friday. So I know people commented on one of my videos where I drew Dr. Sherman. You're good. You're good. Eyes clone! My god. Lord. Primus, what is that? That is a looking Yoda. Okay. I'm sorry, my laptop is just showing me. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, never mind. My favorite anime. I mean, like, does this prove it? Does this prove it? Does this give it away? I have way too many favorite animes. Oh my lord. Yeah, yeah, it gives it away. So, my top animes: My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen. Cause, I mean, like, they're cute and drama. If I do freak out I may freak out at some point if a real YouTuber shows up in my chat. I would definitely freak out. Girl. When you move out on your own, one thing you'll definitely need to expect is you're gonna miss them. Like crazy. I know for me, I miss mine. So whenever I get time to hang out with them or anything like that, I will take that up. I will, if I can, if I can. My leg asleep. Start this. Oh. And of course, Sith music has to play. The Raven. Who's the Raven? Who's the Raven? I never heard of a Raven in Star Wars. Kinda thought we had more people joining. Yeah, ready to relax. Really liking this music though. Girl, you think you're tired? I was up all night after I got home from the hockey game. I was way too excited. It's crazy. I even had a YouTuber actually ask me what my channel was. Okay. Got bubbles in my bubbles going. Yeah, I also like joined the channel to their Discord channel. Because he builds Legos. I have a thing somewhere in my room full of minifigures. I think I have the Zokatona without her hair. I used to have an Anakin. Emphasize on the word used. Bubbles. I love the bubbles. They go pop, 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 pop. But I had to tell Miss Site 42 Director Sherman I had to run. I'm have to check that out later, okay? I know I wanted to go to church today. I felt way too tired. Bean goods. Bean goods. Beans good? Maybe. This music hits hard. Hoo-wee. Not the bubble buddy. I loved Bubble Buddy was funny. Bob. We got this. My arm's itching like crazy. Kind of was upset the hockey game was out of burgers. You could have ordered. I could have gotten a Chick-fil-A sandwich while at the hockey game. Apparently. So I actually got a shout out from a different YouTuber. Because I stayed up with him and his friends during their whole stream. And like the game they're playing was really cool. It was crazy. Yeah, we all have the bubbles. Everyone has bubbles. What do you mean? What do you mean? I know yesterday I had to look up lightsaber designs. You feel sore like a brick. Click, 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 click. I know you were calling me and stuff. I didn't. I was tired as heck when you called. I apologize. Okay. It's hard right now with having to get a new job and keeping up with paying my bills. So a lot of things are it's all over the place. Why does this music have to... Oh. That's why. It's gonna be like, why is this one sounding sad? And this is driving me nuts. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go with the second version of the Switch ever right now. My Switch, my regular Switch Lite is working perfectly. Working perfectly. Yeah, I have my Switch on my bed right now. Like, it's perfectly fine. Also, recently found out there's like a car chase or something near where I work. That was a little crazy. That's crazy for sure. I know one of my streams, I was told that it's confusing of when I'm not doing anything and there's just a random pen or pencil sitting on the paper. I'm still trying to get used to doing all of this and sharing what I can do. At that time, I wasn't sure my sketch was coming out right, so I was looking up different base drawings I could like bleh, references, however it's said. I can't ever really say words right. like people are not joining because they just want to play video games. Should I just start drawing the miku? Or just keep finishing this up? Hold on, let me get the miku at least pulled up. Throw that. Ugh, that's driving me nuts. Do, 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 do. Got some dots on the side and the devil around. Bing, ding, ding. Oh! Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Be, do, be, do, be, be, do, do. Okay, well. Let's get this going. Holy mouth that. Oh, that was loud! That was loud! Okay, well, since no one wants to really watch me draw this, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. This is not gonna look anything like her.
Beans.
That doesn't look right. That does not look right. No. Can you just work with my hair? You're not very helpful. Kinda gonna skip that one. The song doesn't really hit right. Oh, thank you. Yeah, one last stream I did yesterday, someone asked me to draw a certain character. So we'll see how this goes. I feel like she needs a longer skirt than what she has in the picture. Oh. I've never drawn this character before. I've never drawn this one before. Yes, it is. Yep, I've never drawn her. No, so I had a stream yesterday. Someone asked me to draw her. Someone asked me to draw her. God's plan. You never know what God's plan is. I can't draw hands to save my life. And move how I'm sitting so I don't mess things up here. Yeah. Since no one was really watching my other sketch I was doing, I figured might as well try this. Velvet. Maybe. I don't think she has anything on her cheeks, no. Hello, welcome. be dabbing in chat. I don't dab. Hold on. You can't really see it, but wah. There we go. You hungry? Oh, buddy, I got some. I don't get the bread. I need more. It's like I wanted to say something and I forget what I was gonna say. Woo! Nice try there, camera. Go get something to eat. Where's my eraser? There you go. My wrist has to literally tighten up on me while I'm doing this. Jeez, how much lead is in my sharpener? Tap it all out. Tap it all out. Tip, 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 tip. Give me that. Thank you. So you sharpen it, not break it. Ding, 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 ding. Figured if I get this done, I might as well get back to my other sketch I'm working on. Okay, that's weird. No, thank you. Yeah. Ugh. So I was doing a different sketch earlier in the stream, trying to like do outlining and stuff. Then I'm like, well, might as well. Someone asked me to draw a Miku in one stream. Oh, she has the headphones on, not the ear. See? There we go. Keep the mic over here. There you go. Grabbing the papers I used to go under it. Backflip! You guys did a flip there. Stop trying to do a flip. Why are you not wanting to stay still? Bat phone. Yes, bat phone. I just killed the eyeballs. Good. I can't. I can't. Oh god. No, I ruined it. Oh well. I can't promise it's gonna look like the actual character. Ow, that hurt. That hurt. Just some people left. People are leaving and joining. It's on and off. Hello. Yep, I know you've been here. Yep, it'd be like that. Rep. Megatron's just holding it up now. For the mighty Decepticon, he's holding up the phone. And the thing. Oh, jeez. Ouch. Oh. It hurt. Okay, well, I think that's good for the Miku one for right now. So, we'll go back. Stupid phone! We'll get back to more of the Miku one later on. Because that one took longer to actually do more of. Nah, screw it. I'm going with Mr. Bolin.
Travis Walton himself, along with the other witnesses and people that were there. And you have a group of 6 level-headed guys that actually witnessed the abduction take place and have stuck to their story.
Okay, from the beginning.
People have claimed over the years to have been abducted by aliens. And realistically, there's no tangible evidence that any human being has ever actually set foot in an extraterrestrial spacecraft or another dimension or anything like that. It's just these crazy stories from people that claim this happened to them. And while many of these stories are very quickly cast aside as absolute hoax, not true, not accurate, there's one story, one abduction story that is universally regarded as the most believable and most famous alien abduction story, and that is of Travis Walton. What made this case so famous is that unlike all of the other alien abduction cases where there was never any proof, it was usually one person's first-hand account. In this case, you have a full-scale police investigation. You have up to 16 lie detector tests that were taken by Travis Walton himself, along with the other witnesses and people that were there. And you have a group of 6 level-headed guys that actually witnessed
I'm not sure who's still here.
Take place and have stuck to their story and have passed all lie detector tests and have never changed their story in 40 years. And you would think that at some point you might change your story because they came under incredible scrutiny. I mean, it basically derailed most of their careers and their lives because they were labeled as crazy people for believing that a UFO had abducted Travis Walton. I mean, in a way, they became famous, but all the worst ways.
Welcome to stream. We've been going for an hour and 19 minutes.
Seem fairly credible. And even if this wasn't an alien abduction, let's say, how do you account for the past lie detector tests that are talking about UFOs? How do you account for the fact that Travis Walton was really missing for 5 days and has no idea where he was? And there was a full search effort to find him in the area where he would have been.
Yes, you've seen me before in many places.
Questions, but the story itself of when he was actually abducted.
Yeah, I know. You're still here. I know.
What happened once makes for just an incredible story. It's been converted into books and movies, and to this day, it remains one of, if not the single most fascinating, purported.
I drop by different, like a bunch of other live streams.
Before we get into today's story, if you are a
And
fan of
I
strange,
watch
dark,
them,
and mysterious, delivered in
watch their
story
streams.
format, well then you've come to the right channel, because that's all I do, and I upload 3 to 4 of these stories every week. So if that's something that interests you, I would encourage you to gently extirpate the like button and then subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads.
Kinda miss it. I was doing a Miku skin.
By 1975, Travis Walton, who was
Ow.
22 years old at the time,
Miku sketch.
developed a bad
Earlier.
boy reputation in his hometown of Snowflake, Arizona. You know, he rode a noisy Harley Davidson motorcycle through town. He was a wild bull rider, and he was a boxer.
I was drawing Miku earlier.
There was a story about Travis when he was with his friends in a car and they were driving down this road, and a bear jumped out of the woods and landed in the middle of the road. It was just standing there, and Travis, without any hesitation, leaps out of his car.
I can show you it.
After this huge bear and scares it into the woods, and in fact chased it up into
Megatron,
the woods.
move your butt.
So Travis was just known as this kind of rebel, you know, problem child a little bit, but he was beloved by his friends. He was just like one of those cool guys. He did it his own way. So Travis and the 6 other men that he worked with were loggers. They were given contracts.
Yeah, that took me an hour. So how's this one? This one I did a lot more yesterday. I do have a husband hotel. Hi! Yeah, buddy, you missed it. You missed it.
They did a dangerous job. I mean, you're cutting down these huge trees, and you're usually working pretty quickly. You're operating.
Yeah, you remember?
Pretty dangerous. And Mike Rogers, who was the crew boss, who was there.
I don't know if it was you or someone else who asked me to draw Miku.
He described in a number of his interviews that the men that he hired.
Someone was like, you or someone else. He's like, can you draw Miku? I can try.
Alien encounter story. On November 5th, 1975, Mike Rogers was given a contract.
And lo and behold, there she is.
Huge 1,200-acre plot of land inside of the Sitgreaves National Forest. And grabbed his crew. They piled into the one pickup truck.
My throat's still a bit sore.
And Mike knew that this was going to be a really, really difficult
Yeah, no, with someone else.
Yeah,
I drew it. I drew Miku. Ugh.
The first 3 days of the job,
oh my goodness.
They were working, long hours, barely taking any breaks.
It's 12 p.m. Girl, go to bed. 12 p.m. No, that'd be lunchtime.
So finally they wrap up.
That'd be lunchtime.
Pile back into Mike's truck, all 7 of them.
Yeah, no, it's not 12 for me. It's 4.
To the main road to get back to the town. And as they're driving, they're not really talking about work at all. They're kind of joking about what they're going to do that night. And as they're driving down the road, and again, it's heavily forested, they look off to the right, and there is some lights in the forest. They would say in interviews that they all noticed it, but it did not stand out as anything particularly bad. It just could be anything. They weren't thinking about it. But as they were driving down this road, and this light, I guess, got brighter, or maybe they couldn't help but notice it, they all started commenting on this light. And they're looking at it, and somebody suggested that, oh, it's probably just the moon. It's a full moon. But then one of the guys on the other side of the truck happened to look on his side, away from where that light was, and he goes, no, the moon's over here. It's on this side of the road. So like, okay, it's not the moon. And then someone suggested, oh, well, maybe it's a forest fire. Like, maybe we should go check it out. That could be a forest fire. But then Mike Rogers, the driver, the crew boss, was like, no, there'd be smoke. There's no smoke or anything. And Travis, who, he's the guy that's jumping out of cars to go chase down bears, and he's like a total kind of adrenaline junkie type. He's like, hey, let's just drive over there and see what it is. Like, I don't know, it could be anything. Let's go check it out. The guys in the truck were a little on edge about it, but ultimately said, what's the harm? We'll drive over. We know there's a road that brings us over to that section of the
But yeah, I do apologize about yesterday. I would have done another stream, but I was with my family, and we were at a hockey game. I'm not normally a sports person, but oh my gosh, I had way too much fun. Was there alcohol involved? No. Why? Because I don't drink.
They saw this disc-shaped craft with
But
looked like
wait, it was
panels of lights on
fun.
the underside, hovering in
The
a
amount of
clearing
shouting.
50 or 100 feet off the ground,
Let's go.
not spinning or anything, just floating in midair, as if it was suspended. And the men, in their interviews later on TV shows and books, they would say what struck them was not just the fact that there's this craft here, but how bizarre it was to see this thing defying gravity.
So the hockey game.
Moving, but it's
Our team won.
in the air, and it's right in front of us. And one of the men
Our team won.
commented at length because he would build houses, and he was a handy guy, and he started talking about the structural framework of this craft. You could see that there was really impressive engineering on the underside of this craft. It was just a beautiful, beautiful machine. And they're looking at it, and Travis is so excited when they get to this clearing. He doesn't even know what he's looking at, but much like the bear, where he jumps out and chases the bear, as soon as they were almost at a stop in this clearing right next to the ship, he's jumping out of the car. Nobody else is, just Travis. And he starts walking just a little ways away from the car towards this craft. The craft doesn't move. The craft is maybe from where they parked, maybe 50 or 100 feet away from them, and then 50 or 100 feet in the air.
Where?
And the crew doesn't say anything. They're just dumbfounded.
What do you mean Boxatron?
Travis is also dumbfounded, but he's walking towards the ship. And he would say in an interview that
that Boxatron.
Curious. He knew he was looking at something that some sort of craft. He didn't know what it was. It was fascinating.
Okay, to those who don't know about it, I was drawing a Megatron, and I had to draw a box where his head goes. I had to draw a box where his head goes. Oh gosh. I still have that sketch too.
And then it was like once one person started yelling for Travis to come back, they all did.
We got the Boxatron.
Screaming to come back, but he's not really paying attention. He's still walking.
Boxatron.
Just looking at it, and Travis would say he was just
Boxatron. Boxatron. Megatron, no, it's Boxatron. Boxatron, yeah.
And he's looking at it, and all of a sudden it starts spinning, just a little bit. It starts emitting this.
I got a giant bumblebee just sitting on my nightstand, watching.
And now the yells from the crew are getting louder and louder. And Travis would say that he knew he needed to turn around and go back, but he just wanted to look for a few more seconds. And he was about to turn and go back to the truck when all of a sudden a beam of light comes out and strikes Travis like a lightning strike. And all of the crew saw this happen. He gets blown 20 feet away. Like he gets lifted off the ground and thrown 20 feet. And they watched it happen. Again, in all of their polygraph tests, they all said the same thing. All passed. He was hit by a ray of light from this UFO, knocked him 20 feet back. Mike Rogers, in a panic, along with everybody else in the crew.
I feel like I should add more to this.
And they're convincing themselves, as Mike is driving
like
a maniac, leaving Travis behind, they're convincing themselves that he's
What?
dead already. We just watched him get shot by something. We don't know what that is. And they're freaked out. They don't even know what they saw. They're crying. They're hysterical. These are grown men, just absolutely terrified. And they're driving a little ways until finally Mike just hits the brakes and he stops. And Mike is
it's Mr. Bolin.
He was like, "You guys want to stay here and wait for me? That's fine. But this truck is going back to get Travis." And so the idea of waiting out.
It is a podcast, typically.
Saw was even worse than going back. They wanted to stay together, so a little bit begrudgingly, although they knew they needed to, they all got back in the truck, turned around.
I'm watching Mr. Bolin, listening to Mr. Bolin at least.
Both sides. As they make it back up, they notice that there is no lights up there. The craft is gone, and there's no Travis. And they get out, and now Mike is uncontrollably crying because he feels like they just abandoned him, and where did he go? Everybody else is in shock. They can't believe it. They start screaming for Travis. They're running around the woods, yelling for Travis, looking for signs of Travis. They really don't know what happened, but they know Travis is not here. And after a little bit of time of looking, they're like, we have to tell the police. And they knew that it was going to be bad for them when they told police. The story is a UFO came and zapped Travis and now he's gone. That doesn't really sit well with police. But they knew, because they wanted to find Travis, and they were very concerned about their friend, They knew they had to tell police. Mike and a few of the other crew were just unable to even think. They were crying, they were upset, and so
Yeah,
finally they get to a
this is
payphone. The first payphone they saw, because it's 1975.
something about like a
And
UFO
Ken Peterson
abduction.
was this very kind of simple, matter-of-fact guy, recently married, just very simple guy, very level-headed guy. He decides to call the police because he's the only one who is, I guess, composed enough to do it. And so he calls the sheriff's department and he says, "You got to come out here. We can't find our friend Travis Walton. We'll have to describe it to you when you get here because trying to do it over the phone is not going to do it justice. But he's gone and we don't know where he went." So shortly thereafter, Sheriff Marlon Gillespie and Ken Copland, their partners, they show up at this rest stop where this payphone was, and they get to the scene. They see Ken Peterson, who made the call to them, and they're like, "All right, tell us what's going on." The crew has now gotten out of the truck. They look distraught for sure. And Ken begins to try to describe what happened, but he hasn't said UFO, he hasn't said aliens, he's just said, we were up at the logging site, we had a contract up there, and then, just, it's hard to describe, and Mike Rogers jumps in, he's like, "We saw a UFO, and a ray of light hit Travis, and then he disappeared." And the sheriffs are looking at them like, "Really?" And so they stopped them and were like, "All right, I need to search your truck to make sure you guys aren't under the influence of something." And they're like, "We haven't done anything. We've been working all day. Search the truck, nothing." They check each of them to see if they're sober, and their field test showed they were all sober. And the Sheriff Gillespie, who is the overall in charge sheriff, even though he was a total skeptic, and so was Sheriff Copland as well, he would say about that first engagement with the 6 crew members that they were obviously shaken up by something. Something had happened. They don't know what it was. But
Go charge!
what Sheriff Gillespie believed was that they were creating a hoax to cover up.
Primus, go charge people!
They harmed Travis Walton, and they were using a UFO to cover it up. But he also was thinking to himself, like, this is a bad hoax. It's not very well planned. They don't really have their stories really lined up particularly well. They're not doing a good job explaining it. The only thing they're doing well is acting scared. A couple hours later, the sun's starting to come up because it was super late when all this happened. And Sheriff Gillespie and Sheriff Copland have organized this huge search effort up in the forest where Travis had gone missing. And the crew members, they're all there as well. A bunch of volunteers showed up, and they are scouring the area. I mean, they got dogs out, they got these huge teams looking everywhere, and they can't come up with anything. I mean, they're looking everywhere, there's no sign, there's nothing. There's nothing from Travis. And so while this is all going on, Sheriff Copland and Sheriff Gillespie have started coming over to Mike Rogers and the rest of the crew and being like, "Hey, if you just tell us where Travis Walton's body is, like, we'll go easy on you guys. Like, we know you did it." And they can feel that the pressure is really mounting, that they don't find Travis. Even though they didn't do anything, according to their story, they're going to face serious.
Well, you'll definitely be able to watch. I do post my stuff after I do lives. I do post, at least. Yes, it's me. It's me. I think you're the one who asked me about the one about a certain sketch to make. I think you're the one who told me to do this.
This first day of searching, that these 3 guys wearing red jackets had these tools that were scanning the ground. It was like a metal detector. And Mike Rogers, he was hoping that during this investigation that they would have people come out that were like paranormal investigators. I guess maybe he was naive to think that the police would actually do that. But he thought, given the fact that we've all said this is a UFO that zapped Travis, who then disappeared, that they would have at least one person representing the kind of paranormal side of the investigation coming out. And so he sees these guys in red with their special tools that seem like a metal detector. His gut says,
"Yep, I did it. I did it."
So Mike goes over to them and he's like, "Hey, what are these tools you guys are doing? Like, what is this?" And they look at him and they're like, "Oh, well, this test for."
I did that more during the beginning of earlier in stream.
And he asked them like, "Well, what group are you guys with? Are you with the sheriff's department?" And they just didn't really answer him. They said, "Oh,
I did that earlier in stream."
In the area, that's just what we do." And Mike sees an opportunity because when that ship emitted that ray,
I still have the reference pictures up. I still have those up.
They were within range of that big ball of lightning, and they were very much in the kind of cone where, had there been radiation coming off of that ship, he believed that perhaps they would have been hit with it. And so we asked the guys with the red jackets on and their little.
I may not be talking as much
the crew's jackets and bodies to see if they
because I was yelling a lot last night.
Comes over and they scan them, and there's nothing, no trace elements of radioactivity. They're like, no, there's nothing. And Mike realizes that the time they
I was at a hockey game,
until the search, they had
and
all the crew gone
it was
and
insane.
And come out to do the search. And so he thought, well, then, you know, any of the radioactive materials would have been.
Yeah, I did miku.
Here, but we have our hard hats in the back of the truck.
Kind of wanting to finish this one up as well.
They were potentially exposed to whatever was out there from the ship. Can you test those? And so he brought over one of their helmets, and the guy in red scans his helmet, and the ticker goes all the way over, fully radioactive. And the guy in red, like, looked up at Mike and looked down at the helmet, and he's scanning it, and he's looking at him, like, kind of trying to size him up. And then he turns and he kind of gestures at the other two in red and tells them to stop doing what they're doing. And they come over and they're scanning the helmets as well. And then, without any indication of what the results were, what this meant, because Mike is kind of waiting for them to tell them what's going to happen, the guys in red just turn around and say, okay. And they just start walking away. And Mike's like, well, wait, what does this mean? And they don't turn around, and they just walk away from the search site. And so the other crew are watching this happen too. And Mike and the crew are like trying to get them to come back, but they're not turning around. They're just leaving, and then they're gone. And so Mike goes over to the sheriffs, who they know the sheriffs think they did something to Travis. These are not their friends, but they figured we need to ask them who those guys in red were. So they go over to Sheriff Gillespie, and they're like, "Hey, who are those guys in red jackets with the radiation detectors?" And Sheriff Gillespie's like, "Who? There's no one here looking for radiation. Everyone here is here because I ordered them to be here. Who are they? Where are they?" And he's like, "Well, they just walked over there. They went around the corner there." And Sheriff Gillespie's like, "Well, I didn't order them there." And it would turn out that they couldn't locate these three people. No one knew who they were. Mike went around and asked anybody who seemed like an authority figure if they knew who these people were. They asked people if they had interacted with them, and no one knew. So after this search, it goes on for a couple of days, turns up nothing. There's no sign of Travis. The town of Snowflake, Arizona really turned on the 6 crew members. Everybody believed that they had done something to Travis. You know, that this UFO thing was a hoax, and that they harmed Travis, and they were using this as a cover-up. And the sheriff department, they really perpetuated that. They were pretty open about
Hi, welcome to stream. Hi. Yeah, as one person is yelling Miku in chat. They asked me yesterday during stream to draw Miku. So near the beginning, earlier in stream, I was drawing Miku. Early in stream, I did draw Miku. Outlined her a bit too. I still have more details to add. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, I'm trying to finish up my Jedi. Trying to finish up a Jedi.
Cut through all the BS here, and we're going to make these boys take a lie detector test. So they go out and get one of the country's best polygraph examiners to come in and administer a lie detector test on each of the 6 crew members. And so one by one over the course of the day, each crew member was tested for 2 hours, same questions, all centering on the criminal side, the kind of foul play angle for Travis Walton. They all go through it. And it turned out that 5 of the 6 had all shown that they were telling the truth. And the 6th person, it was just inconclusive. It didn't mean that he was lying. It just meant that the test wasn't done very well.
So I do thank you guys for those who do join and do like my videos.
In the country. And he even would say, like, it would be so difficult to fake that. To have 5 people.
It means a lot.
It would be almost impossible.
It means a lot.
5 people be able to pass my examination and have nobody slip up. They were telling the truth. And so the examiner tells the sheriff, and Sheriff Gillespie is dumbfounded. Because he believed that they were going to find out they were all lying, and that this could just be a pure criminal investigation, and it would be, let's go find Travis Walton's body. But now, the examiner saying they're telling the truth. And so Detective Gillespie and his partner are like, now what do we do? And then 5 days after Travis's disappearance, Travis shows back up. During numerous interviews, Travis would say that he remembers waking up on a road and he didn't recognize where he was, but it was nighttime, it was raining, and he sensed a very bright light above him. And so as he's laying, he kind of turns his head to look up into the sky and he sees what looks like the underside of that ship, because he remembered how struck he was by the beauty of the kind of engineering underneath that disc UFO they saw in the forest. It looked the same. His vision was not great. He's looking up and he's pretty confident that's what he's looking at. And then it flies into the sky and it's gone. And he's left in total darkness on a road.
Woo!
In some place he doesn't know. And he remembers standing up and feeling very weak and depleted, dehydrated.
Thank you,
And he
you
just knew that
stupid
he had
phone.
to get
Who loves to fall over on everything. Everything.
And so he musters the strength to stand up and he starts kind of staggering down the road. And eventually, through just adrenaline, he just starts running. And luckily, he sees up ahead there is a rest stop. And at rest stops, there's payphones. And he makes his way down and he goes to the payphone and he has change in his pocket still. Puts it in the payphone and he ends up calling his brother. And his brother he can't believe he's talking to Travis because Travis is probably supposed to be dead at this point. He didn't believe it was Travis, but Travis just said to him over and over again, "It's me. They brought me back." And he tells him where he is because now he recognizes that this rest stop is actually in Snowflake, Arizona. When his brother picks him up, Travis would say that he believed that this was just minutes after, the initial abduction. He didn't even know he had been abducted. This is like he's coming to and he's like, "Man, what happened? Like I was just over at that clearing where I saw this ship and now I'm over here. Like, what am I doing here?" And so Travis's brother is looking at him like, "Where have you been? We've been so worried about you for the past several days." And Travis, who was kind of almost catatonic, he's in shock. He doesn't know what's going on. He looks at his brother and he's like, "What do you mean days?" And his brother's like, "You've been missing for 5 days." And so Travis would say that when he heard this news, this revelation that he had been missing for 5 days, it absolutely put him into shock. He was in a catatonic state where he couldn't make sense of it, and so he just sat there quietly. And his brother's like looking at him, not really sure what to even ask. He asked a couple times what happened, and Travis just didn't answer because he didn't know. He couldn't explain it. And so Travis's brother decides, instead of just immediately calling the police, "I want to bring you to a hospital because clearly that needs to happen." And frankly, with the media circus, as soon as they find out you're back, it's just going to be mayhem, and I want to make sure you're taken care of first. So he drives to Phoenix, Arizona, and he brings him to a hospital. And he asks the doctors to be discreet, and he has a doctor do an examination. The doctor knew who Travis Walton was because he'd been following the news. And he's doing an examination of Travis, and he was malnourished, he was tired, and looked very sick. But there was no physical wounds, with the exception of one puncture site in his arm, in the crook of his arm. Travis was not a drug user, so it wasn't like that was, a mark from using drugs. It was a puncture site, and they assumed someone had.
I feel like people are just leaving now. Okay.
And also the doctor drug tested.
That's great.
Tested his blood, and there was no drugs in his system. It wasn't like he had been using any sort of substance. So he kind of had a clear bill of health, minus the injection site and looking pretty ragged. And so after the examination, Travis's brother brings Travis back to his home in Phoenix, Arizona. As soon as they get back, his home phone is getting constant phone calls. It had made its way to the sheriff's department back in Snowflake, Arizona, and they're nonstop calling Travis's brother. Like, "Hey, we hear he's back. We have to talk to him. We have to talk to him." Sheriff Gillespie, he drives all the way to Phoenix. He goes in and he sits down to talk to Travis. And Sheriff Gillespie would say that Travis looked like he was in shock. He looked like he had been through something traumatic. It did not seem like he was acting. And he starts asking Travis what happened. And Travis, he does mention the UFO. He mentions seeing this thing in a clearing. He gets struck by some light. He doesn't know what it was. And then, he's on the road 5 days later, and he can't really make sense of what happened. He just didn't really know what happened over the 5 days. And finally, Sheriff Gillespie just kind of doesn't really give up. He's like, "Well, we have no way to arrest him. We have no proof of anything." And so he just said, "We're going to be in touch," and he drives back. And then media starts showing up. Huge news trucks start showing up outside. Everybody found out because this was a huge story. Where
I don't know if people are still there
Finally, the National
or
Enquirer,
what
they
right
reached
now.
out and they said, hey, if you give us an exclusive story, if Travis speaks to us about what happened to him, we will get you out of here. We'll bring you to a private location, and we'll even pay to have Travis undergo a
I'll
whole
check
other
something.
battery of
Check
tests that are not typically done
something.
to see if they could figure out what had happened to him. And so they agreed to go with the National Enquirer. So by the time he's actually sitting there looking at the National Enquirer, he's had a little bit of time to maybe let his memory
Oh my
kind of
gosh,
kick
those
back in
are
about what had
ridiculous.
happened. And he's having these flashes of memory of what happened over those 5 days. Because initially, all he could remember was seeing the craft and then being on the road 5 days later. And so when he's sitting down with the National Enquirer people, he begins to recall what actually happened over those 5 days. And so this is what he said happened. He said that he remembers getting out of the truck and walking up to this craft.
Yeah,
He remembers his crew
okay.
members yelling at him
Oh,
to come
jeez.
back. He knew they were yelling at him to come back. He just wanted to look at the
Oh
craft.
my gosh.
And then right as he was about to turn around and head back, the craft started moving.
I just pulled
This
up my
loud, kind of
different
mechanically
thing
eerie sound is being made, and
to see what's
before he
going
had a chance
on.
to run back, he gets hit with this lightning
So,
bolt of some kind. Then he remembers being in the presence of some
this
doctors.
is a little
He saw
ridiculous.
white lab coats,
Nice.
masks, and facial coverings, and he's kind of in and out of consciousness, and he's this orange light around him, but he definitely sees what looks like medical professionals, and he's thinking to himself, whatever happened with that ship, it must have hurt me, and my crew must have scooped me up and brought me to the hospital. And so in his kind of in and out state, he's aware that he's around medical professionals, at least what he believes are medical professionals. And at some point, his vision clears. It goes from foggy and he's in and out to being pretty much lucid. And
You guys will probably be hearing a lot of noises afterwards.
Box sitting on his chest that he didn't recognize. It didn't really look like modern medical equipment. It just looked like this almost like
I'm listening to Mr. Bowman.
And he looks at that, and then he looks up at one of the people who's wearing a mask, who's working on him, one of the medical professionals. And this person is working on this box, and then the person looks at Travis Walton and then leans in to look even closer at Travis Walton, and Travis is horrified. It was this grayish, thin, narrow-headed figure that was very short, maybe like 4 feet high, who was looking in at him, and its eyes were like slits, and it's looking at Travis. And Travis, who's unbelievably scared at this point, pushes everything off him and rips out all the cords that are attached to him, kind of topples off of this table that he was on, and he realizes he's in a fairly small room. And there's 3 of these humanoid creatures in the room with him. And he picks up the biggest instrument he can see next to the table that he was just laying on. He didn't know what it was, and he starts kind of wildly waving it at them and screaming to leave him alone, like, get away from me. And he's trying to make sense of what he's looking at, and the 3 figures in lab coats start walking.
Yeah, I was playing Miku's song earlier.
Kind of looking up at him, trying to study him a little bit. They get all the way up to him, and he's waving, and he's almost about to hit one of them when they just kind of abruptly turn around and leave the room, leaving him alone in this kind of examination room. And as soon as they leave, he watches them go down the little outside the door, down the little hallway, and they turn left. And so he's practically paralyzed with fear, but he knows that he can't get out of this room, he's done for. And so finally, he kind of gets himself together and he walks past the examination table. He goes down the hallway outside of the door, and instead of going left where they went, he kind of sneaks off to the right and starts walking. And he comes to another room, and it's a room that has a single chair in it. It's this tiny little room with a chair, and the chair is turned away from him. He begins to peer around the chair, and he sees that no one is sitting there.
I don't have Just Dance. Last time I ever played that was on the Wii.
Any sort of mechanism that can get him out of this room. And he said, like, the room, it was like this perfectly flat. Everything was flat.
Yes, I'm old.
No door handles. Couldn't find a way out. And he ultimately sees on the chair that it looks like there's some buttons on the chair itself. And he pushes all these buttons on the chair, nothing happens. And then in the door,
I'm old, okay?
Suddenly, a person, a man, appears in the doorway, who's wearing what looks like a spacesuit, like an astronaut suit. And Travis is so immediately relieved, even though the weirdness of him being in an astronaut suit is pretty high. But he's like, it's a human. And he doesn't know what to think about the fact that he's now excited to see a human, right? Like, it's terrifying that you were just around these non-humans, but he's like in panic mode now. He sees another human being and he runs over to him. He says, please You got to help me. I don't know where I am. Where are we? What is this? What's going on? And he notices that the eyes of this person inside of the spacesuit, it's a man who at least looks like a man, but his eyes are distant. He's not making eye contact with Travis. It's like he's in a trance. And he said his eyes just seemed off, like they weren't focused on him. It would be like if you're talking to someone, but they were like permanently looking away from you. There was just something off about him, and he never spoke. And so he's trying to ask this guy, like, where are we?
I'm 23. I'm
And
old.
he just starts leading him
I
back
will say it loud and proud. I'm old. I'm 23.
back towards the room where he was originally, but down the hall.
And I'm yelling and losing my voice
And they get
even
to
more.
another door. He opens it up, and Travis the whole time is like,
Probably not really losing my voice, but still.
and he thinks that this guy is helping him. He thinks that this is his savior, and he feels relieved that a human being, albeit a strange human being, is helping him. And eventually he stops asking him any questions because the guy in the spacesuit's just not reacting to him. They open this door and they go down into this huge hangar where there's all these spacecraft that look just like the one that he saw in the clearing, that Travis saw in the clearing. And they start walking down between all these spacecraft that are just hovering, much like they were hovering in the forest, seemingly able to just defy gravity. And the whole time, this guy in the spacesuit's saying nothing, and Travis is like, what is this? What are these craft? Is this military? Saying nothing. They walk to the far side of the hangar, and they open up.
I know, but I'm still gonna say it. I'm old and I can yell loud. I can say it. I have more lead for my pencils coming in tomorrow.
And they're looking not at Travis, but their bodies are aimed in the direction of the door they came in through. Travis goes in and he sees these three and he thinks, these people are here to save me. Like, again, I feel relieved to see humans, albeit strange humans, but nonetheless humans. And the guy who had brought him in there continues to lead him over to the three other people, and they pick him up and they put him on the table. And he starts kind of resisting because he doesn't know what they're doing. They're not speaking. He's like, what are you doing? And they force him onto this table, and he's feeling pretty weak at this point. And they take a gas mask and they put it over his face, and then he blacks out. And his next memory after that is when he woke up on the road and had the light above him that flew away, and he had to run down to the payphone to call his brother. Travis did not immediately go and speak to the crew members that were there that night. It took quite a bit of time. He was talking to press. He was doing interviews. The police wanted to talk to him. There was a lot going on. But he eventually got together with the other 6 crew members, and they all met up at Mike Rogers, the crew boss's house, and they just said, you got to tell us what happened. And so he sits down and he tells the story.
So I just sent a thing to the YouTuber who asked about my channel. I don't know if he's gonna see that. If he does, woohoo! If not, oh well.
They just felt bad. They felt like if they had just stayed there and taken Travis, he wouldn't have been taken, but they didn't know that. And so all of them would leave Mike's house that day, and they would all go their separate
Probably.
ways. They did not stay in touch. They went their separate ways. It was like this hugely traumatic event that even to this day, 40 plus
we'll
years
see.
later,
I don't really know.
Often brought to tears. Ken Peterson, his interviews are particularly striking because when he talks about it, he's an older man now. He says, to this day, I'm scared to look out my window. I'm afraid I'm going to see a spaceship. He starts crying when he talks about it. I mean, this had a profound impact on these 7 men, and some of them didn't do so well. This whole story, it ruined their credibility. Even though this is the most believable alien abduction story, the truth is most people think it's a hoax. One of them, like his own family, basically disowned him because they felt so embarrassed about this whole story. They don't believe him. So if this was a hoax, like to what end? What did they get out of it? Nothing. It damaged their lives. Following this case over
Why would someone lie about being abducted? No, never mind.
5 by Travis Walton, 11 by the remaining crew, and they would all pass. The one member of that initial polygraph set, when 5 had passed and 1 was inconclusive, he was retested, same exact test, and he did pass. It's just one of those things where we're left with this incredible story where modern technology says they're telling the truth, but we can't fit that truth into what we think of as normal life. And so we've just decided that there's going to be a group of people that believe and there's going to be a group of people that don't. And you're left to pick which side you're on. So I'd love to hear what side you sit on. Was this a hoax? Was this an abduction? Or was this something else? Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll do my best to get back in touch with you. And if you haven't already, gently hit the like button, subscribe to my
Maybe.
channel, turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any of my 3 to 4 weekly uploads every week.
Maybe.
If you want to get in touch with me, you can message me on Instagram. My handle is John Ballin.
See, bunch of different notifications. Mainly weather.
There is a town in central Ohio called
One from
Circleville.
Steam
It's a
telling me
population
about
of
a
maybe 10,000
game that I
people.
don't
It's
have the
very
ability to play
modest,
any.
totally obscure. Unless you maybe have relatives from Circleville or you are from the area, there's a good chance you've never heard of Circleville. Their big claim to fame is their pumpkin
Circleville.
show that they've been
That
hosting
sounds
every
interesting.
year since 1903. But if you're a fan of unsolved mysteries, there's a pretty good chance you've heard of Circleville because it played host to one of the strangest mysteries that played out in American history.
Sounds
That
interesting.
started all the way back in 1976.
You guys ever heard of
And
Circleville?
still persists to this day. Before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious, then you come to the right channel because that's the focus of my channel, and I upload 3 to 4 times a week. And so, if that's something you're interested in,
Kind of tempted if I end the stream to go watch more restart my Clone Wars binging.
post notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly 3 to 4 uploads. All right, let's get into the story.
Probably get copyrighted for having Clone Wars playing in the background.
Ohio with her husband Ron Gillespie, and Mary was a bus driver for the local school. And one day she came home from work and she found a letter that was addressed specifically to Mary. It had no return address and it was postmarked from Columbus, Ohio. The letter effectively said,
I don't really watch any of TK Tales other than the ones you tell me about. TK Tales kind of has things that do get on my nerves.
Bad things are going to happen to you. We're watching your house. We know you have children. Now, Mary
At times. So
right. She was scared for her kids. She was scared for herself. You know, she didn't really know how to react to this letter, so she just ignored it and hoped that it was a hoax and that it would just stop. But a week goes by and she gets another letter. This letter was even more threatening, saying that if you don't
I gotta figure out the coloring.
we are going to harm you.
No. Brain rot is not allowed. No. No. Brain rot is no. No, no, no.
Her husband Ron woke up one morning and got the mail and found a letter addressed to him. The letter had no return address and was postmarked from Columbus.
We don't do brain rot. We don't. We don't. No.
The letter to Ron said that his wife
Brain rot brings even more irritation and rage to many. This is 2026. We are not doing that. No.
Get it to stop. That Ron's life would be in grave danger. Ron is horrified.
Grave danger. Well, now.
This was very uncharacteristic. And so he went to Mary and he said, hey, I got this letter. What is this? I've gotten 2 of these letters. I've just been ignoring it. I didn't know what to do. She aggressively denied any accusation that she was having an affair. She said, I'm not doing any of that. And so Ron believes his wife and says, you know what? I don't know what this is, but I believe you. Let's ignore this. This will go away. I don't know what this is, but it'll go away. A week later, Ron receives
No.
addressed to him, no return address, postmarked from Columbus, Ohio. This letter said, Ron, it's been a week. You haven't done anything. You have to get her to admit the truth. Otherwise, not only are we going to put your life in danger, we're also going to broadcast what she's doing all over town on billboards, on radio, and on TV. So at this point, Ron and Mary are scared. Ron is still standing behind his wife. He believes his wife that she has not had an affair.
No more.
Some horrible hoax.
No.
But they're scared. But they don't really want to go to police yet. They kind of want this to just go away. So their first step is let's tell some people in our inner circle just to kind of put this out there and see what other people think. And so the 3 people that were closest to Ron and Mary were Ron's sister, Ron's sister's husband named Paul Freshour, and Paul's sister. So it's a little confusing, but those are the players here. And so while Mary and Ron are telling, their inner circle about this anonymous set of letters they've gotten and all the threats and starts to think that she might know who's been sending the letters. She has an idea of who it is. Now, we unfortunately don't know who this person is. It's been left out of anything I can find online. But she decides that it's in their best interest to proactively send this person a letter and basically say, you've got to stop, or we're going to pursue legal action. And initially, when they started sending the letters, while it's unclear if they got any sort of response from this person, the letters, the anonymous letters, did stop. But that would all change in August of 1977 when Ron was home one night with the kids, Mary was out, and Ron receives a phone call. He picks up the phone call, and his kids would say that his entire demeanor changed. He went from calm and collected to angry, furious. He's talking to someone, and it's unclear what was said. We don't know exactly what was said or who he was talking to, but when he hung up, he tells his kids that I'm going to go confront the person who's been writing.
Oh, I've been doing this whole stream for a whole 2 hours.
Pistol, gets in his pickup truck and blazes off down the road. It's like he knew
No,
exactly
see how noise is.
but literally
I'm not allowed to have animals. No.
discovered that Ron had died. He crashed into a tree, and he died on impact.
Oh,
Now, nobody else was found at the scene. The sheriff and the police unit that went in to investigate, it was just Ron
no.
in a ditch against a tree. But they found that he had fired one shot out of his pistol. They don't know who he was shooting at or what he was shooting at, but he fired a shot before he crashed. The sheriff initially suspected foul play, but the sheriff changes his mind. He says, you know what? Ron was drunk. Ron was 1.5 times over the legal limit. So he was drunk driving and he crashed. But that didn't make any sense because Ron's family said Ron does not drink. And his kids said he hadn't had anything to drink that day. So at this point, the story starts getting very bizarre.
So the cops are hiding something.
Hundreds of other letters, anonymous letters, no return address, postmark from Columbus,
The cops are hiding something.
to residents all over central Ohio, not just Circleville, but all over central Ohio. And the letters took a turn. Instead of being accusatory of Mary, although there was still some of that, it was the sheriff in Circleville is covering something up. It was around this time that people started to speculate that perhaps the writer's agenda is not as clear. Initially, it seemed like they were targeting, Mary and Ron, and then when Ron is taken down, they're defending Ron. So following Ron's death, Mary is scared for her life. She just watched her husband die as a result of this horrible situation, and all these letters are pouring in all over central Ohio with the same kind of nasty language about her and her supposed affair with the superintendent of the school. The letters are insinuating that the sheriff is covering something up with her husband's death. Her kind of dirty laundry is being...
Well, yeah, the sheriff said he was drunk. I'm sorry.
This goes on for years. So finally, in 1983, breaking point, and she finally admits that she was at an affair with the superintendent of the school. Now, she claims that it happened, or it started, after the first letters arrived. That it was just
The man was not drunk, sheriff saying it.
Whether or not that's true, it's kind of secondary. And she thought that that would stop the letters. That the first thing that this person wanted was for her to admit this and stop this affair. So she comes out and she admits it, she puts an end to it thinking that's going to do it. But that didn't do anything. It actually made it
because the sheriffs are being complete liars.
She admits what was going on with her and the superintendent. She's on her bus route driving, the kids to school, and she starts noticing these billboards and signs all over her route condemning her for her actions and saying she's this horrible person. And so she got mad. She went from being kind of a victim and scared to being mad. And so one day,
they have it. Yeah, it's cop
she
issues.
pulls over when she sees one of these signs, and she gets out, she rips it out, and then when she puts it down, she notices there's a box that's a part of this kind of billboard contraption. And she kind of looks inside, and there is a loaded gun that has a wire wrapped around the trigger, and the slack's been pulled out of it. Like it's literally ready to fire. And had she been standing at a slightly different angle when she pulled down the sign, it would have fired the gun and it would have shot her. So she calls police. Police show up. They do an investigation, and they look at the weapon, and they can tell that someone very poorly tried to etch off the serial numbers on the weapon.
So someone tried assassinating her.
But they were able to serial number, and they were able to trace it back to its original owner, who was none other than Paul Freshour. So the police go to Paul, and they're like, "Is this your pistol?" And Paul was totally cooperative when he was approached. He's like, "Yes, I didn't report it, but that gun was stolen from me. I didn't send that booby trap." The sheriff, who was the same one who investigated Ron's death, he didn't buy it, and so they made him submit to a handwriting test. It apparently totally swayed the jury. They were like, "You know what? Paul's the guy." He was found guilty and sentenced to 7 to 24 years of jail. And so Paul goes to jail. And while he's in solitary confinement, 4 letters are sent out all over central Ohio. And they're all being postmarked out of Columbus, Ohio, even though he is in solitary confinement in Lima, Ohio. But no one wanted to listen to that. Everybody believed that
I don't even know if the guy's gonna see it.
He's like, "How could I have been writing these letters?" And so for 7 years, these letters are sent all over central Ohio, accusing the sheriff of this cover-up and condemning Mary for what she did. And then when Paul is up for parole, after 7 years, he stands before the parole board and they deny him parole on the grounds that he was sending these letters. Even though he's like, "How could I have been? I've been in solitary confinement most of the time." And they were like, "Too bad, you wrote the letters, see ya." And so he goes back to jail. And it was at this point that Paul he gets a letter. This letter was taunting Paul because they apparently had known that he was denied parole based on him being the writer. And instead of it being written in the first person, like I, it was written we. We are keeping you in jail for as long as we can. Basically saying, "Haha, we know you didn't do it, but we are going to keep you in jail for as long as we can." And they even said, "That booby trap is not the only one. It's only a matter of time before somebody else finds one, and then you're going to get blamed for that too." But following the letter stopped. And so for 3 years, Paul remains in jail until he's up for parole again.
That's rude.
And since there haven't been any more letters, no one found any more booby traps, Paul's all the way until 2020.
Who would?
So it was the same year that Paul was released from prison. The very popular TV show Unsolved Mysteries decides to cover this story. As soon as they are beginning to do research on it, they receive a letter from an anonymous person with no return address, postmarked from Columbus, Ohio, written in style handwriting as the Circleville writer. It said, "If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay." And so the staff and crew of the show had a decision to make. Is this a credible threat or not? Do we actually pursue this or not? And they ultimately decided that they had to do it now. And so they go into Ohio and they do their own research and they start questioning people that were involved in this.
I kind of feel like people are done with my stream.
A crucial piece of evidence that more than likely could have potentially kept Paul from going to jail. They discovered that there was another witness that was never brought forward, despite she made herself available. She was not used in the trial and was basically cast aside. She was a bus driver, and she was on the same route as Mary. And before Mary went to that booby trap sign and ripped it down and almost was shot, this bus driver was ahead of Mary. And when she passed by, she saw there was a yellow, flashy El Camino sports car parked near the sign. And standing outside of the car near the sign was a man who did not match the description of Paul Freshour at all. And when she was interviewed by Unsolved Mysteries in 1993, they were like, "Really? The sheriff? Like, nobody wanted to talk to you about this?" And she's like, "Yeah, I told them that I'm available and no one wanted to talk to me about it." So Unsolved Mysteries, they air the episode and nothing comes of it. They don't get any more threats. There's nothing. It just gets aired. It's very interesting, and that's that. Really, at this point, you're left with a collection of people, the police included, that fundamentally believe that there is no mystery. It was Paul Freshour. He's the guy that wrote these letters, that set up the booby traps.
Why would Paul send letters?
That's that. But there's another group of people that believe Paul didn't do this, that he went to jail for something he didn't do. And one of those people is a journalist by the name of Martin Yan.
Yeah, he
so
didn't.
Martin, along with a large number of people, believe there are 3 additional suspects.
His gun was stolen.
Should be looked into now that could have been the writer. First one is the superintendent of the school, the one that Mary was accused and then admitted we start looking into it, Paul Freshour's the guy, and they're not about to reopen this case. For me, the letters that got sent out all over Central Ohio while Paul is in, solitary confinement, to me, that is like the number one thing that makes me doubt that Paul was the guy. Now, could he have been involved? Certainly. I think that that's definitely possible. But I think that more than likely what we're looking at here is there was more than one writer.
I guess we could end the stream since there's not really a lot going on. So I do appreciate those who joined. I might try doing another stream later on today. Yes, I am goofy. But we'll try doing another stream later on, okay guys? Thanks for joining. And have a great day.